Hi there. So, tonight I'm drawing a phone zombie. I've got a little bit of a dilemma with streaming live because people don't all join it at 7:30, so most people are going to be watching this back maybe, or they're going to join later. So I don't want to get to the juicy stuff like my story as to how I came up with a phone zombie until later. But obviously I want to get stuck into stuff. So what I thought I would do to start with is just get some reference together. And we can do that together. I literally 5 seconds ago bought this app because I was like remembering it in my head and I was trying to find it. Anyway, it's called VizRef. I'm not sponsored by any of these apps, but apparently this one's good because you can grab stuff from the internet and just chuck it in. So let's see if we can do that. I just wanted some zombie, I don't know, zombie reference. What's this guy? So if I drag that in here, ooh, that's, ugh. What's that from? Walking Dead or something, probably. So VizRef is supposed to be a cool reference tool, so you can just collate all this stuff together. Well, I don't want crazy stuff, but oops. Ah, that's cool. I do want references of eyes, zombie eyes. Hi, Dad. Just trying to find some good zombie eye references. This girl's kind of interesting. Oh, I like this app already. It's pretty cool. Just grab stuff, chuck it in there. Oh, some special effects is amazing. Oh, what did I do? Oh, somehow I went to a tutorial. Oops. Yeah, prosthetics and stuff. They can do amazing stuff these days. I mean, look at that. Ugh. Yuck. Don't look at that. Anyway, I think that's good. I don't want my zombie to be too gross. I want it to be more of a jovial zombie, you know. But I like this application. It's kind of simple but nice and easy to use. So I've got my my sketch here, and you might notice that there's some sort of underlying things underneath. So that's my sketch, but I used these as references. See my little cute guy there? And this, and I thought I'd show you how I made both of these, because I used separate tools and applications, and it's kind of interesting. Could be interesting for some people. Some people might find it really boring. But let's start with the zombie phone. So I created this with Blender. I'm just going to switch across to Blender. So Blender is a free 3D app, and it is quite amazing. I'm sorry you can't see my cursor, but just imagine that I'm clicking around and doing things. So this is, I mean, 3D is a massive learning curve. If you want to get into it, I highly recommend it, but just be aware that it is very different. Like, it's a different headspace that you need to be in from just 2D work. But it's all sort of based on primitives, so you can see. I mean, this is such a hack job that I've done, but his arms are literally just cylinders, and his body is a cube that I just chucked all these modifiers and things on. So modifiers just modify the shape. I'll show you. So that's kind of the cube that I started with, but then I put some smoothing on it and some deformations and stuff to get this kind of lumbering look. The really cool thing about Blender is it's got this engine called Eevee, which is a real-time renderer, which means that you can have lights like this and, you know, move them around in real time, see how they affect the scene and the shadows and everything like that. It's just it's pretty cool, especially for a free app. Anyway, so I created him in Blender, and I just had this camera here, and just basically rendered out. But I mean, if it is complicated, but you could just piece all this together and then do a screenshot, or even if you want just to get the perspective of something right, you could just chuck a cube in there like so. Oops. You know, I've got a really extreme lens in there, that's why it looks distorted. But yeah, you could have a cube and just use it as a reference. Anyway, that's how I did that. Next, I want to show you how I did the little dude. So I switched to I've got my iPhone here as a second camera, just so you can see how I'm tapping on things. There are a couple of great apps on the iPad which allow you to get a model, excuse the nakedness, but you can get the model and then pose them however you want. So this one's, I won't go into it, but it's using forward kinematics, which means you have to rotate each limb, which may seem tedious, but if you're wanting to get the right pose, you know, it's important, and you can really control a lot of the stuff. There is also, I always forget where these are. Yeah, so here we have preset poses, so you could always just like find something you want, move the camera to the angle you want, and then just, you know, screen capture it or whatever and use that as a reference. I mean, I really recommend, if you have friends that can model and you can take a photo, then I definitely recommend that. But this is just really cool if you're just like, I want someone doing this, and I don't know, I can't get my friends to do it quick enough or whatever, you know. Lots of functionality there. But there's also another one called Magic Poser, which is where I built this little guy, which is essentially the same thing, but just a different interface, and they've got a few different characters that you can, you know, move around and stuff. And the difference with this one is that it works in both forward kinematics and inverse kinematics. So forward kinematics, it's all about rotating from the joint. So you would like grab this and then rotate it, and grab that one and then rotate it. But inverse kinematics is when you can grab the end and it will calculate the rotations on its own. So it just means that the movement is coming from a different end. I know that's a lot to grasp, but you know, it's a little bit more intuitive, to be honest. So this is like symbolizing the rotation and all the angles, so you can grab each one of those to rotate it specifically. That's forward kinematics, but when you actually grab an end and it bends itself, that's inverse kinematics. Oh, was that just a notification? I hope it wasn't anything bad. Anyway, so that's how I made those two references, and then I stuck them together in here. And then basically just sketched over the top. And voila, I've got this cute little, well, little shit, to be honest. But running away from a phone zombie. So I will start, I think I'll just start colouring in, and as we go, I'll tell you how the phone zombie came to be an idea that I wanted to do. So I was walking along, minding my own business. Sorry, I think that's a line from Little Shop of Horrors. Oh no, it's I'm very much off track. It's orange coloured sky. That song. Anyway, sorry. I was walking along the bike track along the Yarra River, which is very natural and lovely, and lots of gum trees and water, and there's even a children's farm there with animals. And I just happened to have my phone out looking at something, and this little kid, it dings and his bell and his bike and rides past and yells at me, "Don't be a phone zombie!" And I was like, firstly I was like, where are your parents? And why haven't they taught you some manners? But it made me think a phone zombie would be fun to draw. So here we are, drawing a phone zombie. Oh, and I should say, you'll see that my reference, he's got his eyes open, but I made up my own eyes, but just used the placement of where the reference is for the eyes. Really helps with proportions and stuff, and angles. And if there's any questions about all that, please feel free to ask them. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to do. First I will fill in some of the phone, I think. And then I will add the screen in. I was trying to think, like, zombies eat brains, right? So what would a phone zombie eat? So I took a screenshot of my phone and I'm going to put that in here. I think it might help with perspective as well, and at least get me started on, you know, the content of his face. Because I thought it could be funny to have icons in there. I don't know how that's going to work though, but we'll go with it. Just go with it. Block in the shadows as well while I'm here. I think I want the whole thing a little bit more. That size on the frame, maybe. So I can really make that shadow big and ominous. So, let's figure out this kid's hair first, actually. Let's do a brown browny colour, heading towards pinks. Just want to make it like it's flying back to give him a bit more movement. Actually, it's going to be a little bit weird because I want the phone to be actually lighting up the kid. So it'll kind of be both casting a shadow and creating light as well. So we'll have to see how that goes. Might be a terrible idea. Some little things that are good to think about when doing this stuff is how much his clothes would be like, you know, in the wind and all over the place. And this sleeve looks weird. And I am not good at it, but figuring out where it's pulling. And so where the folds, you know, the natural folds from it crumpling and stuff would be. I might exaggerate that as I go. So it really feels like he's running. I might actually bring him down a little bit. Yeah. And then, excuse me. Oh, where's that on? This one. And then maybe I can sort of carve this out instead of so I'm sort of thinking that this will represent the light coming from the screen, perhaps, if I colour it. We'll see, it might not work. In fact, you know what I could do? I could duplicate that screen layer. Anyway, I might do that later. Let's have a little play around with the eyes, I think. And for that, I'm going to try and, get this. There we go. Okay. Viz ref. Why am I no good at this? I'm just trying to do the split screen. Okay. Viz ref. Come over here. That's what I want. I mean, I don't really need a ref for the eyeballs, but these ones just here are quite cool. The red. Thing is, I don't want them to just look like cartoony eyes, because that's what it might look like. Maybe if I make the pupils actually white. No. I think I want his tongue hanging out. I'm surprised how quickly that came together, to be honest. The tongue, at least. The teeth, at least. Howdy. Sorry, Dina, I only just saw that. Sorry, got some new lights. I just got excited by them. Alright, I'm gonna get rid of this flesh stuff for a bit. And I might put on this reference. Maybe one of his eyeballs should be popping out. I do want to make them look really round somehow. Oops. Just want his mouth to look really deep. Which I think is happening now. So what does a phone zombie eat? If a human zombie eats brains, oops. Memory cards. Maybe. I'll tell you what he does eat. He eats little arrogant kids who yell at grumpy men on bike tracks. wonder if this kid will ever realise one day he'll just be like, I don't know, maybe he'll get into art and then he's like just on the internet one day. I just remembered my phone has this, which is a good way to make it look like a phone. Yeah, he'll just be on the internet one day looking up, I don't know, vintage live streams from 2021 because he's into art history. And he'll just stumble across this and he'll be like, oh my god, I'm that kid. Tell you what, I will give you a tip for free for posing. This goes for posing yourself as well as others. What's happened there? If you can get a pose to look interesting as a silhouette, it'll look good. So like this kid, this pose of this kid, it will still read. Wow, let's probably still read if I just fill it as one color. So get rid of the lines. You can still tell what's happening with that kid. I mean, it's a bit rough, but you get the point. If you can get your pose to look, good as a silhouette, you're on the right track. There you go, pearls of wisdom from Stevia. Also something that has, like, you know how sometimes you just hear things and they just stick with you? Like, you'll be watching a TED talk and you'll be like, oh, I get that. That makes sense to me. Like, I now understand myself and the world better. So, one thing that I have had stuck in my head is from an artist called Cynics, who mentioned before, and he is absolutely amazing. I hope he's been doing it for ages because he can just pull out, he can just start drawing an anatomically correct person and they just look amazing. And I'm so in awe of his artistry. But anyway, one thing he said is that you should always think of the hair as a graphical element. And I mean, you kind of think, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean? But I think what he means is you should think of the hair as a shape. Like you think of it as something dynamic rather than something flat and whatever. And that has always made me think of hair differently. Because it's not necessarily that it should be 3D. Like, it's not saying think of hair as form. It's just think of it as a graphical element. Which I think's, I don't know, it's just helpful. Maybe it doesn't make sense to anybody else, but it does to me. Now let's see if I could do some good tiers. Right. My trick with liquids, which seems to be working pretty well so far, is you shade them the opposite way to what you would normally do, right? So you go like, normally the shadows would be at the bottom, right? But you do more of the shadows at the top. I mean, it probably looks a bit thick, like it needs to almost, it should almost be see-through. But, so you do the opposite shading, but then you add the highlights on the right side. So the highlights would be up here. I mean, these are way too blue. But I think it works. Right? Yeah, Steve, it works. You're a genius. Also, if you want anything to look, like if you want fleshy colors to look alive, just get them more saturated. Like, see how with his mouth it looks like the light's coming through it? Love that. I want to go towards my purples. How are we going for time? Oof, nearly been an hour. I was hoping this would be done in an hour. It's looking a bit rougher than I want it to be honest. But I might have to finish the stream and come back for it later. actually think I want him to be much darker. Really want to emphasize that the light's coming from back from the zombie. I wonder if I do this and do this. Blur. Make it look kind of glowy. I shouldn't have done that. What I should do is do a mask. Good thing about a mask is then if I don't like what I've done, I can undo it really easily. Let's go around there. I've kind of overcomplicated things with the light as usual, but what I'm going to do is just do some big washes in the background. Wrong. Too saturated. So all I really want to do is just suggest that the light's coming from that direction. That direction. This needs to be a bit darker now. Alright, I think I'm going to call it quits soon. But I'll finish this off later. I just really want to put some more time into it, but not just now. I need to relax, put my feet up, maybe watch some TV. But first I'll keep going. Because nobody's stopping me. All right. I'm gonna leave it there for now. Sorry I didn't finish it completely. But look out on Instagram for the final product. Thanks for watching.